What's up everybody, Pete the Hybrid Guy here, and in this episode today we're looking at a 2008 Toyota Prius. We're going to check out the seats, the wear on the seats, and how we can recover them to make them look brand new. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's get started. I want to thank you for jumping on with me today. In this episode, what we're going to be covering is this problem right here with the leather original factory seats that came in our Toyota Prius. Now, they do wear out over time, and unfortunately, I was not the original owner of this car, and so I was not able to take care of the seats as well as they needed to be taken care of. So what we're going to cover today is how to recover these seats with some high quality aftermarket seat covers that will do two things for us. One, give us more padding, and two, give us a clean, brand new fit and finish for our Prius. So you may be wondering why I want to put seat covers on my seats. Well, for a couple reasons. Number one is comfort. The seats that are in here now are not very good for longer drives, and I do a ton of driving in this car. And number two, the driver's seat is starting to tear on the bolster and on the seat cushion, and I want to get that covered up before it becomes a real problem. So I'm going to introduce you to the seat covers that I got from Clazzio and show you how they're going to help my Prius look like new again. So when I was in the market for seat covers, I did a lot of digging. I found that there were a ton of people competing for my money, for one, but there were only very few who offered an affordable solution that gave me something that looked like it was going to be a factory fit and finish, which is a really big deal to me. And that company ended up being Clazzio. There are other companies out there that do a similar thing, but the cost was so much money, I just decided to go with these guys and give them a try. So I got everything, pulled it out of the box, and I'm actually really impressed. Now this kit comes complete with new headrests, new armrests, bolsters for the rear seat. This is for the centerpiece on the back seat, and then we have all of the different seat covers for the bottom seats and the backrest. What's really nice though, and I'm super proud of Clazzio for doing this, is they have memory foam right here in the actual seat cushion. It's nice and soft, and I absolutely love that. So my goal here today is to help everybody take a look at what's offered here, show the installation of it, and you guys can choose for yourself if you want to put these in your car. I really think they're going to be a total win, but one of the hardest things I think that we deal with is, especially with a product like this, is a good installation video. And so that's one of the reasons that I want to take the time today to do that. Now before we get started, we've got to do some other things to prep the surface, so let's jump over to the car and take a look. Now you may not be able to see it, but I definitely can. These leather seats are dirty, and what I do not want to do is put nice, clean, new covers over dirty seats. So what I'm going to do is clean these with some leather cleaner before I put my seat covers on. So what I'm going to do now is set up my camera and then just go through, clean all of these seats, front, back, side to side, front and rear, and then we will take another shot on how we're going, and a process on how we're going to install these seat covers. So hang tight and let's get these seats cleaned. What I'm going to be using today, because I ran out of my Chemical Guys leather cleaner and conditioner, is just some good old Lexol. Lexol's been around for a long time, so it's just a two-step process. One is a leather cleaner and two is a leather conditioner. Make sure that when you do this, you read the instructions on how to use each one of these so you're using the product correctly. But now what I'm going to do is clean my seats, give them a conditioning, and then we can jump over and put these seat covers on. Now that I have the seats cleaned and conditioned, it's time to figure out how to put those on. So Clazzio gives us an installation manual. It tells you where everything needs to go inside the vehicle, and it helps you understand exactly where you need to put all the different clips and ties on top of the seat. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with the driver's seat, primarily because that's the one that I'm most concerned about. And once I get that one figured out, then we'll jump to the rest of them and get them all installed. So I highly recommend, if you do this process, read through these instructions. They're pretty straightforward, and they have great pictures and descriptions to go with everything that they're doing, and even how to get around these pesky trim pieces. We should have a nice finish afterwards, just like this in the picture here. So that's what I'm hoping for. So let's dive in and get this driver's seat taken care of first. Something that's really important to note here is that each installation manual is going to have its own specific places where all of these parts and pieces go. Now Clazzio in here tells you to locate each one of these individually, and it says that there are tags on all of these products. However, what I'm finding is that some of them do not have them and some of them do. So I'm got to cipher through this just a little bit to see if I'm either missing a tag or if I can figure out how to do it. And I think I figured it out. Now I know that this is going to be my driver's seat cover. And the reason I know that is there's a bigger notch on this side for the seatbelt buckle and a smaller notch on this side for the reclining feature. So I know that this one, even though I can't find the tag on it anywhere, is going to be for my driver's side. So a little helpful hint from you if you're installing these seat covers. Now, the seat back gave me an 11, and I know that the 11 is for the passenger, so that tells me that this one here should be the 21 that we need. Sure enough, it's right there. So make sure, and it's just like Clazzio tells you in here, check to make sure that you know exactly where all these pieces go before you install them. Otherwise, you're going to have some issues when you go to install them and they're not the right pieces, and you'll scratch your head to figure out why. Now, later on, we'll get to using this installation tool and these particular hooks, but for right now, let's focus on getting the driver's seat in and the driver's seat back on. So our first step to doing that is actually unfolding or unbuckling the rear or the under part of the back seat like this inside the car. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to slide the headrest off, and we're going to put on this seat cover and get it attached. I want to give everybody an up-close shot of the hooks that you're trying to unhook, which are these right here. There's little bars up under there. All you do is slide them off, and all this comes out clearly. There was some junk in my seat, along with some Legos of my boys, and I'm going to wipe that down before we do anything. Now, the first step is actually not to put this seat back on, but the seat, and you need that out of the way in order to route all of the other connectors down underneath the seat. So that's what we're going to do first. The process looks pretty straightforward. This is going to tuck underneath the back. These straps are going to go up underneath the seat, and then these are going to tuck down between the gaps on each side and then pull around to the back. It's right there in the instructions, so that's what I'm going to do, and let's see how this thing turns out. I want to take a second and tell you this is a piece of wire and why I use this piece of wire. So where Clazzio wants you to feed that, oh my gosh, that tie right down through there can be a little tricky. So this might be a good tool, Clazzio, to include a piece of wire where someone can just gently pull that right through. Initially it was a little long, you saw me struggle with it, so I cut it down so it was far shorter, and then I could reach around and slide it through nice and easily. What I did here on the end, patent pending, right, is I just made a little kind of curly hook so I could loop the loop that was in there up and over, and so it wouldn't just fall off when I pulled it through, and then I could just undo it, and now that cord is through and this is almost on. So I'm going to continue installing this bottom seat cover now that I have both sides threaded through. In fact, the other side feeds right through this little hole right there. That's kind of a pain to see. So you could use the same wire to go through that hole as well and make that process way easier. So let's keep on going and get this thing finished. So I've got the bottom seat cover on, and it feels pretty comfortable. You saw me sitting in it. I may have to make some minor adjustments as I get the rest of this on, but overall, I've got everything tightened down and it feels comfortable. It really feels like, so far, this is going to be a very good seat cover. The color is a little bit different. It's a bit brighter, but you know what? I'm okay with that. It still goes with the car. It still makes it feel new and clean and fresh. And of course, the seat that I'm sitting on feels way softer and more comfortable. So I'm super happy with that. Next, what we're going to tackle is the backrest. And we're going to get that in place. Then we'll get the headrest on and we'll call that driver's seat complete. Now, before installing the backrest, Clazzio says to roll this up about halfway and then put it on. So I'm doing just that if you're wondering what the heck this looks like when it goes on. So let's get this on the backrest and see what it looks like. So far, so good. I will tell you, before you put this seat cover on, check the back pocket and make sure there's nothing in it. I struggled a little bit there because I felt some things in my back pocket of my seat and had to pull them out. Overall, this slipped on pretty well. Now what I'm going to focus on is getting those notch holes lined up and poked through. Clazzio has a spot there in the instruction manual on how to do that. Then we'll get the bottom part latched together and get it fastened to the bottom seat cover. Once we do that, we can cover the top, the headrest, and our driver's seat will be ready to go. What Clazzio tells you to do is to put these little plastic pieces through as you're sliding this down over. You're definitely going to start with one corner and then work around. Now, they did give you a little tool that can help with that. You're going to have to work it around, making sure you do not tear your leather. Oh boy, they are tough, aren't they? Ugh. But once you get it, it'll come out just like that. So I'm going to put this other side in, and then we'll secure the bottom part of this down, do the headrest, and call this part done. Something that's been kind of confusing that I wanted to point out were, first of all, these hooks. These hooks are going to go right here, and then they'll go up underneath where the other plastic hooks were. Now, what Clazzio has you do is affix this Velcro to this Velcro, which is impossible with this other flap in the way. In the instructions, it's kind of vague what they want you to do a little bit, but I figured it out, is they want you to tuck this other flap that you took off in the first step up under here, and then pull this down and secure it, then Velcro these two together. That was kind of a huge thing, and I scratched my head on it a little bit because I was trying to figure out what exactly they wanted to do, but that's it. So put your hooks on, and then as you pull this around, you'll be able to Velcro your bottom two pieces together, and this will be nice and tight. Now Clazzio says the easiest way to put these headrest covers on is to have it in the vehicle and then just put them on. I agree, that was actually pretty easy. They say once you get to this spot, pop the headrest out and finish securing it. So that's what we're going to do. This seat is all complete. I'm going to sit in it and see how I feel about it. Then we'll do the rest of the seats and see how this project turns out. I can already tell the difference in the comfort level of the seat itself. This is really exciting because I have a huge road trip coming up and I want to be as comfortable as possible when I take that drive. Feels good to me. Let's dive over to the other seats and get this project wrapped up. My process for installing the front seat covers on this side is going to be a duplicate of what I did on the other side. So I'm going to start with the base seat cover, get that secured, do the seat back, get it secured, do the headrest, and then we'll move on and take a look at what we need to do to get the back finished up. So I'm a clean person and I did not know this about my seats, but I thought I would share because it's kind of gross and I'm glad I caught it. But once I undid that flap, all this junk fell out of my seat, and there's some more that fell out on the other side too. So I'm going to make sure that I clean that up. But just so you know, if you find any hidden surprises, they're usually trapped in the seat. And maybe if you dropped something a while ago and something's stinking and you just can't find out where that odor is coming from, pull that seat flap and take a look. I've got the base seat on. I'm going to put on the backrest right now, get that secured down, finish the headrest, and then our front passenger seat will be all done. I have a little spot right there that I got to tuck in, but that is after I get everything kind of set in there and make sure that it looks really nice and clean. So I'm going to get that fixed, and yeah, let's just dive into it and get it done. Okay, so we've got our front driver's seat and our front passenger seat all covered. I got my little thing fixed down there so it looks nice and factory. Next, what we're going to do is jump to the back seats. I'm going to clean up all that junk that fell out of there before we do that, and then we'll get started on getting those back seats covered up and looking good too. Next, what we need to do here is take this seat out. So we're going to cover the bottom seat, which requires us to just take it out. Now, I'll give you a hint. There's two main clips that hold this bottom seat in. This is useful for a variety of reasons. if you need to remove the seat, that is. You'll want to get about right here with both your hands, get them under and just pull straight up. It'll probably be a little bit stubborn at first, especially if the seat has never come out before, but give it a good pull, come right out. Do it on both sides. If your child lock's not on, just like that. You can pop both of the clips up just like that. And then you'll be able to slide that right out of there. There we go. Something else that you're going to want to do while you're in here is probably clean under these seats. Fortunately, mine aren't too dirty, but I'm going to clean them anyway. But let's get this out on the table and get it covered. This bottom seat cover will probably be, honestly, the easiest one to do. We have a bunch of straps, the seat's out of the car, and all we've got to do is set the seat in there, put the straps on, and we have a couple of hooks we've got to hook up. So let's go ahead and get this started. That was probably the fastest and easiest part of this whole process. I'm going to leave this out of the car so I can work with the back seats now, but really what we're going to do is just put the rest of these covers on. So let's get to it. So what we want to do next is cover our rear seats and these side bolsters. What I think I'm going to do, taking a look at everything, is I'm going to take these seats out so I can work on these side bolsters and the seats out as a unit on the table. After pulling that seat out and doing it on the bench, I just think that's going to be the easier, faster way for me to do that. So I know that's not exactly how Clazzio has it in the instructions, but if it's easier and faster for me, I'm all about that. So I'm going to go ahead, pull all these pieces out and get them on the bench. I've got the rest of the seats out. I'm just giving everything a little touch up on cleaning. But what we're going to do is I'll set some of these off to the side and then I'll just take them section by section, put the new covers on, and then we'll get them back in the car. Once we're done with that, we'll do a final inspection, make any adjustments needed, and then we'll get this car back out on the road. Okay, as a side note, I'm going to tell you that this section right here is the most frustrating section I have dealt with on this entire thing. This armrest was a total beast, and this center section here, I got tired, but it was just really difficult to really work around some of these tighter areas and in such a larger piece. The fit and finish of this is spectacular. I'm really jazzed about it. And this is gonna, this is ready to go back in the vehicle, but this is where I struggled the most. And if you're going through that, like, I get it, I feel you. But I really believe that what we've got here is definitely worth it. It looks amazing, and I'm ready to get this back in the car. So before we do that, we've got to cover the headrest, and I need to give you some tips and tricks on how to do that properly. For these last 3 headrests, they have a specific type of hook. These fold over, and this doesn't just slide in here, but what it does is it folds over like this and then connects in there, and it makes a tight fit. So this isn't something that you go like that and do, but rather it tucks in and goes behind. It'll roll over kind of like that and roll into this, they call it a J hook. So that's how that goes in there, rolls over. This hard piece does go in there, but it's going to go in as you roll it in like that. So when you turn it upside down, it ends up looking a lot like this. So I'm going to finish these headrests, get those rolled over, and then we're going to install all of this back in the car. All right, I've got all of these things wrapped. It's ready to go back in the car. So let's get them in there and see how this project turned out. And that's a wrap. We just finished up putting new seat covers on our 2008 Toyota Prius. From the looks of it, they turned out really great. I've sat in the driver's seat, the front, the back, the passenger, sat everywhere in this car, and I can tell you it's far more comfortable than it used to be. The look is also nice and modern and fresh and clean, which I really love. I think Clazzio did a great job. Couple notes on this. I did leave off a couple of these pieces back here that you can see because I wasn't quite sure how to install, so I'm going to have to give my friends over at Clazzio a call to see if they can help me figure out how to install those a little bit better than what's shown in their instructions. Other than that, I feel that these are a great upgrade, and for the money, it definitely can save you from putting new seats in your vehicle. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next episode.